Good morning, friends. The sun is rising, so I think the natural light will improve kind of quickly. I'm just going to share with you a practice that's good for any time of day, but maybe especially for the start and the close of the day. Hello, Glenmore friends. I miss you guys. Find a comfortable seat. I like to sit on a bolster. I like to keep my hips higher than my knees, and especially in the morning, I'm feeling a little more tight. You might want to put something underneath the knees. You could use blocks or pillows, anything you find around the house. We're finding out how adaptable we are. And just begin to tune into the breath. Maybe even allow the eyes to close if you like. With the inhale, allow the belly to inflate. Exhale, it releases. Inhale, belly inflates. Maybe the ribs expand a bit. Exhale, the ribs soften. The belly comes closer to the spine. Inhaling, belly inflates. Ribs expand. Maybe even the heart lifts a bit. Exhale, in reverse. Just continue to softly invite this yogic 3-part breath. Begin to allow the breath to just become more natural, thinking about it less. Remember, as we practice today, that you're the arbiter of your own practice. If something doesn't feel quite right, make an adjustment, skip it. We shouldn't feel any pain as we practice in yoga. If we do, that's a cue to change something. We're seeking that just right challenge. With the next exhalation, just allow the chin to roll down toward the chest. And then gently rolling the ear toward the shoulder. Slowly, mindfully with the breath, rolling back to center and to the other shoulder. A few more times following your own breath's rhythm. Next time the head comes back through neutral, lift the chin and just roll the shoulders in one way or another. Making sure to change direction. And release. Allow the arms to float up to shoulder height. Maybe turn the palms, opening them up, bending the elbows, softening the shoulders a little bit. So there's a little softness, a nice openness. If we draw the shoulder blades closer together, we even feel that openness here in the chest area a little bit more. With an exhalation, allow the right hand to come to the heart as the head turns toward the left. Inhaling, head returns to center, arm opens. Exhaling, head turns right, left hand to chest. So again, just follow the rhythm of your own breath. Hand to heart, neck rotating. 3 or 4 breaths. Next time you come to center, release the pose. And take a nice deep inhalation. And with an exhalation, allowing the movement to begin from the breath, just begin to turn the torso, pelvis first, then middle of the back, then upper back, toward the left. Right hand may come to the left knee, but it's not acting like a crowbar. The movement comes from the breath. Spine is long. Maybe the left hand reaches behind you to the bolster, to the floor, maybe even to the small of the back. Exhaling, return to center. Inhaling. Exhaling, allow the movement to come from the breath, turning toward the right. No torquing with the arms. And coming back to center with the breath. One more time on each side. Exhaling left. Taking an inhale while you're here. Exhaling center. Taking another inhalation, and exhaling right. One more time. This time we'll pause when we get there. So as you move to the left, with the breath, lengthen the spine, and then look back to center. Body stays turned. Maybe allow the right ear to roll down toward the right shoulder as you continue to breathe in this pose. You might want to explore even dropping the chin and noticing what happens in the left side of the neck, left shoulder. Just take a couple of breaths here. Lift the head to neutral, turn the head back to the left, and then turn the entire torso back to center. Nice big inhalation. With the exhalation, turn toward the right. With the inhalation, lengthen the spine, and then turn the head back to center. Left ear toward left shoulder. If it feels good, drop the chin a little more and find your breath. And lift the chin, turn back to the right, and turn the torso to center. One of my favorite mudras is something I think might be useful during this time of social distancing. And that is it's the Fearless Heart Mudra. Cross the right hand in front of the left, so the right hand is closer to the heart. You can stay right here. This can be the mudra for you. If you want to, and if your hands are comfortable, you can try interlacing the pinky fingers, then interlacing the index fingers. The next one might be a little more uncomfortable. You can skip it if it is. If it's not, interlace the ring fingers. And then allow the thumb and the middle fingers to find one another. Bring the hands to heart center. Let's just pause here, allow the eyes to close. Take a few deep breaths. Noticing what you find. Fearless heart. One more breath. Untangle the ring fingers, the index finger, the pinky finger. Move the wrists in whatever way might feel good. Move the blocks if you were using them, and find your way to hands and knees. It might be you want to use a blanket, the edge of a rolled up mat. I'm going to push the bolster out of the way. The edge of a mat maybe, under your knees, maybe a small pillow if it's more comfortable for the knees. Come to hands and knees. You can always, if the wrists are uncomfortable, come to your fists or down to your forearms instead. And let's just begin some cat-cow movements, tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin, rounding the back. Inhaling to center to table, or maybe lifting the sitting bones, lifting the collarbones, lifting the gaze into cow. Just a few breaths. Mobilizing the spine. And coming to neutral at table pose. Take a moment and look over the left shoulder. Look toward the feet. Come back to center. Look right. And just a little bit of a flow, good for morning or evening. Exhaling, sitting the hips back toward the heels, coming down toward child's pose. Inhaling back to table. Exhaling, tucking the toes, maybe lifting the knees a little bit, maybe lifting the knees all the way up toward a downward facing dog. It's up to you. Inhaling back to table and exhaling down toward child's. Not really enough time to find the full expression of the pose. We'll just get this nice deep proprioceptive flow. Proprioception is this wonderful sensation that both wakes us up or calms us down. It's one of the reasons this particular practice is good for morning or evening. One more time. And release. Wiggle those hips left and right, whatever feels good. And find a block. You can use a book. You can use all kinds of things. You could use a little ball. You could use a box. You could use all kinds of things. And invite the sole of the left foot to find the floor. And the left knee will be over the left ankle, so our lower leg is perpendicular to the floor. And we'll just keep shimmying that forward, walking your blocks or your ball or whatever you're using, your book. Walking it forward, keeping the knee on top of the ankle until you feel a nice deep stretch in the hip flexors on the right. This is what we're seeking, this counter pose to the effect of doing a lot of sitting all day. And just with each breath, send the exhalation into those hip flexors on the right. Maybe soften the shoulders a bit. Maybe allow the pelvis to lower a tiny bit more toward the floor, noticing that stretch a little bit more. You can stay right here if you'd like. You can lift. Maybe if you'd like, reach the fingers on the same side as the hip flexor extension up toward the sky and lengthen the upper aspect of that psoas muscle group. Remembering to breathe. Finding the blocks again, walking the blocks back toward the trunk as we sit the hips back a little bit, extending the front leg, lengthening the hamstrings, the calf, maybe even the sole of the foot. Leaning in if you want to intensify it. Breathing. Walking the blocks forward just far enough that you can return the left knee and invite the right to come forward, shimmying it as before until you feel that lengthening in the left hip flexor. And again, taking whatever option you want here, staying with your hands on the block, the floor, the balls, the books, or engaging the core, lifting the trunk, maybe reaching the left fingers toward the sky, remembering to breathe. Softening the shoulders. Returning the hands to the blocks, sitting the hips back a bit, extending the front leg, lengthening those hamstrings. Noticing you can adjust the position of the foot to change the position of the stretch. Walking the blocks forward and bringing the right knee back to join the left. I think I'll swing my legs around and we'll do just another pose to lengthen those hip flexors. Rolling down to a reclined position on the floor. Palms of hands by your side, palms down. Tucking the shoulder blades under just a little bit so they almost make a platter for the chest. Bringing soles of feet to the floor and walking those feet a little closer to the buttocks. With an exhalation, allowing the waistband to find the floor as you tuck the pelvis up, pressing into the hands, pressing into the feet, gently lifting the pelvis, rolling up one vertebrae at a time, pressing into the feet, energy of the thighs are almost squeezing toward one another, even though they stay parallel. Keeping the head still in this pose, bridging up, strengthening and lengthening. Lots of proprioception here. Massaging the thyroid while we're here. Another breath or two. Rolling down whenever you're ready. Taking a few breaths. We'll do it one more time. With the next exhalation, pressing into the feet, lifting the pelvis. Remembering to breathe. And slowly rolling down one vertebra at a time. Bringing knees in toward chest and just taking whatever movement feels good for that lower back. Giving it a release. Maybe rocking elbow to elbow. And then we'll make our way, either if you have a clear wall space like I do, you can use a clear wall space. If you don't, you can use a chair. Any kind of chair. A typical height chair is even better, but any kind of chair will do. If you do have a wall space, shimmy yourself over to the wall, one hip next to the wall, and then rotate, pivot on your buttocks, coming down to the floor so you can send your legs up the wall. Once here, if it feels like it's too much stretch on your legs, or if your hips are lifted, shimmy a little farther away from the wall. You can always choose to bring soles of feet to the wall. If you want a little more stretch, shimmy a little closer. Get really comfortable. Maybe you want to add a little, find a little something near you. And add just a little comfort for the neck. Wherever you've chosen, a chair, feet to the wall. Just begin to breathe and get comfortable. I'm going to come back to seated and talk you through. Allow the breath to return to a natural state. Maybe think about it as if you could inhale into the tips of the toes and exhale. And as you exhale, invite a softening, a release into those toes, each and every one. Inhaling the breath through the toes, through the feet, into the lower legs. Exhaling, inviting a release. Inhaling, the breath comes down through the feet, through the lower legs, through the knees, into the thighs, all the way down into the hips. Exhaling, release. Inhaling, breath comes in through the toes, through the legs, and also enters in through the fingertips. Exhaling, release. Invite a softening in all those places. Maybe even notice a little pulse of the heartbeat at the fingertips and at the toes. Inhaling through the toes, through the legs, through the fingers, into the hands, rising up into the lower arms. Exhaling, lengthening, releasing, relaxing. Inhaling through the legs, through the lower arms, crossing the elbows, all the way up toward the shoulders. Exhaling, release. Inhaling and watching the breath rise from the hips into the abdomen, the small of the back. Exhaling, everything softens, everything lengthens, even the organs and the torso. Inhaling, the breath rises through the extremities, through the abdomen, into the heart center, wrapping you like a blanket in comfort. Inhaling, the breath enters through the legs, through the arms, through the torso, all the way up from the heart center, through the shoulder blades, into the shoulders. Exhaling, release, letting go. Inhaling, the breath rises through the throat to the jaw. The jaw softens, maybe even separates a bit. Each exhale, an opportunity to invite softening, lengthening, release. Inhaling, watching the breath rise into the cheeks, the temples, the eyes, the muscles surrounding the eyes, muscles holding the eyes in place, the forehead. Exhaling, everything smooths out, lengthens, softens. Let's go. Inhaling, watching the breath rise all the way to the crown of the head, wrapping the scalp, even inviting the brain to let go a little bit, relax against the back of the skull on the earth. Inhaling as if we could breathe from the tips of our fingers and the tips of our toes all the way up to the crown of the head. Exhaling from the crown of the head, back through the body, through the tips of the fingers and the tips of the toes. And just continuing in this space for as long as you like. Stay here for 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you like. I thank you for letting me share in your practice today. Have a beautiful day. Make the best of it. Send our energy to each and every one of us. Namaste.